check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2 here at Real Sim Racing.
1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And this is the quality control check for ETVLIVE here. Standing by for a broadcast tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Few who saw Atlanta Motor Speedway in its infancy would hardly even recognize the place today. And I'll tell you, it's a far cry from the structure planned in 1958 by Walker Jackson, Lloyd Smith, Gagnon, Bagley, and a host of others. And I'll tell you, back then the lower seats were so low that the fans couldn't even see over the retaining wall. The only bathroom facility was in the infield, and it was a 3-hole outhouse. Hey, welcome to the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And a little bit later on, we're going to be giving away a Hippies paint job, free paint job from Hippies Paint Job. And Harrison, I got to get this right, Harrison Weidlitz in the house with me here tonight. And, of course, Laura Lawson covering the cameras for your broadcast here from Flag to Flag tonight. But Harrison, Atlanta Motor Speedway, 1.5-mile track. This is one god-awful fast place to race.
Yeah, Atlanta Motor Speedway, very different from the way it was many years ago. They, as everyone knows, they reconfigured the track in 1997, making it one of the fastest on the circuit. And Atlanta always has a lot of great races, and we've seen some great races in the past few weeks in the Asphalt Assault Series, and it should be a really great show tonight.
And I understand we had a real barn burner last week at Bristol Motor Speedway. Matt Lacrosse taking the trophy home, apparently. I was not here. I was out of town in Colorado, but Matt led 131 laps and started on the pole as well. So from start to finish, it was Matt Lacrosse's night. David Lanza, he finished second after leading only 15 laps, but starting 10th, good finish for him. C.J. LeVere with a third-place finish at Bristol Motor Speedway. And Aaron Truscott, a new driver with the Asphalt Assault Series here with the Real Sim Racing, he managed to come in 4th position after starting on the front row with Matt Lacrosse. Doug Fleming with a top 5 finish. Bobby Terrell, I tell you, Bobby Terrell is hell on wheels. We'll talk about him here in a minute. Stefan Marinak, outside the top 5, finished 7th at Bristol. And then John Abbott with a pretty good night, finishing 8th. And then Rhett McBride in 9th. John Chef Ellers finishing 16th. Your top 10 for the Bristol race last week. And I'll tell you, from what I understood, Harrison, that was a real barn burner.
Yeah, it was a great race. Bristol is actually one of those tracks where they were having some issues on the long run. David Lanza actually was probably the fastest guy in the long run, but Matt Lacrosse led the vast majority of the laps. Lanza was a contender. They had some shakeups down pit road with the order getting a little bit where they had to come from mid-pack. Lacrosse at the end, making use of newer tires to get back to the lead late in the going. A lot of different strategies at the end, but Lacrosse was the dominant force all night. And it was a very good race to see him and Lanza, two very different styles, battling for that win.
I wish I could have watched that race, but I think my wife and I were stuck up in Cripple Creek during a hailstorm out there in Colorado, so there's no way I could have even watched it. But I always loved the Bristol races and wished I could have seen it. Of course, I can always watch the replay afterwards. Let's talk about last season here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Chad Cole won this race after starting on the front row. He led 44 of the 90 laps last season. John Abbott was a solid finish last year, finishing second after starting fourth. And I tell you what, David Lanza was a top 5 finish last year too. So I tell you, this is one fast racetrack, and as I understand, there's some bumps and grinds on this thing here tonight, and we got a pretty full house, so looking forward to a lot of fun here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah, the track has aged a lot, and which puts tire wear heavily into the equation. You got to be really precise with how you use the throttle and how you steer the car, and these trucks should put on a show. They're just underpowered enough that the guys who are kind of close in speed probably won't be able to get away from each other. If the drivers are feeling tight, they're going to love being in the lead, but they have all that air hitting their nose and all the guys behind them are drafting back up to them. But if they're loose, they don't want to be in the lead until the checkered flag waves, because if you're loose and you're leading a pack, it is just arrow loose in an extreme way. So it'll be interesting to see. I think we'll see a couple of the guys who are capable of winning the race actually riding right on the leader's tail, but this is a really tough track to get a hold of.
And it just dawned on me, I forgot to introduce myself here. Of course, if you don't know who this is by now, Cowboy, you got another thing coming. But J.D. Webb in the house here tonight. Let's talk about the points here coming into Atlanta. And I tell you, these two Cowboys, and the nationwide race here at RSR, there is no chase race. This is about who has the biggest pile at the end of the season. Right now, Stefan Marinak has it. He's 12 points out in front of Bobby Terrell. And I'll tell you what, this could be, this is going to come right down to the wire at Homestead, I'm sure. C.J. Levere sits in third with a 44-point deficit behind Stefan Marinak. And then Matt Lacrosse in fourth position. He's 64 behind. Now, from there on down, they're going to have to do something. Some miraculous miracle is going to happen for Rhett McBride, who sits in fifth, Harrison, to come out in anything better than where he's at right now. But for the top four, Marinak, Terrell, Levere, and Lacrosse, I'll tell you what, anything can happen between now and when we get to Homestead.
Yeah, anybody in the top four has a legitimate shot at winning this title. Marinak has been leading the points for quite a while, but Terrell has knocked off about 40 points in the last 2 weeks as he's outfinished Marinak in the last 2 races. And C.J. Levere has been solid every time we've seen him. And Matt Lacrosse, while he's 64 back, which is about a race and a half back in points, as we saw last week, he has the ability to dominate races and he can make up points quickly. And when you can make up 40 points in just 2 weeks with someone having bad luck, any one of those top four can leave this series as the champion at the end of the year. So it should be really interesting between the top four in points.
And then Bryan Harvey, he sits in sixth position. He's 205 back. And John Abbott, only 2 points off of Bryan Harvey. So Abbott sits in seventh at 207 back. Glenn Campbell at 230 back. Not a whole lot of movement there for Glenn, but probably happy to finish in the top 10. Douglas Wyatt, who has been struggling here recently, but holding his own, sits in ninth position. He's 248 back of Stefan Marinak. And, of course, rounding out the top 10 here tonight, Doug Roth, 253 back. So there may be a little bit of movement between Roth and Wyatt here at the bottom of the pile, and then in the middle where we've got Harvey and Abbott only a couple of points apart from one another there, possibly even working up into a top 5 if they can overtake Rhett McBride. So that's going to be bragging rights there, but the ones that we're most concerned with here tonight is going to be Marinak and Terrell, obviously. Only 12 points separate those two guys. right now. So I tell you what, this could be the race of champions right here. This could make or break, a possibility at a top 5 here for these guys up here.
Yeah, and Marinak doesn't want to get comfortable at all with that lead shrinking, and Bobby Terrell is all on the offense and doing everything he can. It should be a really interesting battle, and of course, over the years in NASCAR, we've seen so many races just take interesting twists at Atlanta. Of course, 1992 in the Cup Series may be what many people consider to be one of the greatest races of all time.
You bet. And I'll tell you what, why don't we go ahead and send it on down trackside to Cactus Cutie standing by with our national anthem.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And a big thank you to the Cactus Cuties for that most wonderful edition of the national anthem, and of course the virtual Thunderbirds for the flyover. Let's take them down through the lineup here. 1 through 10 looks like this. Stefan Marinak in that number 24 machine on the pole here tonight, front row. On the outside of him in that number 4 machine is C.J. LeVere. Bobby Terrell, he starts right behind Stefan Marinak in that number 7 machine in third. Starting fourth tonight, 66, that belongs to Bryan Harvey. In fifth position in the 15 car, that's Rhett McBride. Outside him in sixth is number 81 of Steven Almindo. David Lanza, he starts on the inside in the number 33 machine in seventh. Outside him, hey, keep an eye on that number 10 here tonight. Solid finish last season in eighth position. In ninth, on the inside, the number 86, that belongs to Aaron Truscott. In 10th position, Harrison Eric Arnold. He's driving that number 47.
And behind the top 10, we've got Jimmie Jones in the 42 coming from 11th, and alongside of him, the 16 of Marvin Turnmeyer Jr. Starting 13th will be Stephen Maddox, and to his outside is Aaron Grosskopf, who we haven't seen too much of this season in the Asphalt Assault Series. In 15th, we've got Barry Hines, and alongside of him, Nathan Bowers. 17th is Bo McGuire, and rolling off 18th will be John Ehlers. Rolling off 19th will be J. Randall Watkins, and 20th, the 43 of Doug Roth.
Keith Brooks, he rolls off in 21st. On the outside of him in the 48, that's Frank Kunz in 22nd. 23rd, that's Josh Chaney in the number 5 machine. In that number 28 on the outside, 24th, that's Doug Fleming. Douglas Wyatt, he starts in 25th in the number 12 machine. On the outside of him is Britt Van Meter. He's in that number 27 and 26. Rounding out your field for tonight is John Wilco in that number 62, 27th position, shotgun on the field, as they like to call it. Pace car coming through turn 3 here as these Cowboys start strapping them up, getting them set and ready to go here. They'll turn these ponies. We'll be on tonight for 130 laps at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So we'll look for speeds in excess of 210 miles an hour going into turn one, the front stretch here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I would suggest that you probably be hanging onto that wheel with both hands when you get there, Cowboy. This is kind of a bump and grind track here. The pace car is off. We are set to go. The green flag is out, and a 24 of Stefan Marinak off and running here at Atlanta.
Yeah, Marinak with a great start, but I think we'll see those guys come up on him relatively quickly. This is a track where you get a big lead and they'll pull right back on you, especially with newer tires. Bobby Terrell quickly gets by the 4 of CJ Lavere to pull into second place. So quickly Bobby's on the offense, and he wants to lead all the laps he can and make up all the points he can on the car that's running right in front of him, the 24 of Marinak, already leading this race from the pole.
Bryan Harvey in the 66 already drifted back here. Remember, he started fourth, just lost a couple of positions here. So looks like Bryan Harvey now sitting back here in sixth position, starting to kind of cycle around here, single file, get back here to about eighth position. The 33, that's David Lanza up on the outside. Lanza with a solid finish here last season. He finished fifth here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So keep an eye on that number 33 car here tonight.
Yeah, David Lanza, fresh off of a great run last week, and he was pretty happy with it. He certainly knew that he could win the race, and probably was a little disappointed it didn't work out that way with strategy and all of that. But you could tell in his post-race interview that he was pumped to be there, and he certainly wants to have some more runs like that tonight. And all the drivers working their way single file relatively quickly to stay out of trouble early on in this 130 lapper at Atlanta. A couple of guys trying to make their way through the pack. I think we see Aaron Grosskopf in the 25 right now working on the 11 of Stephen Maddox, and that's for 12th position. Grosskopf, who we haven't seen much of, who actually runs the DisabledRacers.com website, which is something I know he's very passionate about. And right now working on moving up into 11th position, actually. So a nice start for the 25.
Yeah, he took the words right out of my mouth. Aaron Grosskopf, a disabled driver here tonight, driving that number 25 car. So you're absolutely right. DisabledDrivers.com. You got to check that one out over there. And he's got a group of disabled drivers that do the sim racing thing. So it's a good deal to for these guys to be able to stay involved with the racing. But getting a little bit shaky back here at 25, down on the apron. 16 coming alongside here. Aaron had to get off the throttle. That's Marvin Turnmeyer Jr. up here going past the 25 machine. So getting a little kind of shaken up here. Aaron gets it squared away here. Now comes the 42 machine on the top side. That's Jimmie Jones here in 14th position. So, but behind them is just a herd of cars back here. Let's start with the 09 machine on the inside of Bo McGuire. That's John Chef Ellers down there on the bottom here. We're talking about 16th. Oh, big tangle up back here. And looks like we may have our first caution. Yep, as the 09 goes around. Contact between a couple of them here on the backstretch coming right off of turn 2. The 50 involved. The 09 involved. I believe it's going to be the 77 involved and possibly the 85 as well.
Yeah, I just gave a call to that 25 car. Unfortunately, he just started battling a loose condition. This track is notorious for when you get that right rear tire hot, it becomes a ride for quite a few laps until you can get it cooled back down. So Aaron started losing the handle on the car and ran up the track. And at first they looked like they were going to be okay, but a couple of guys came in kind of hot. I know the 77 got into the 50 of Bo McGuire. And it looks like the 09 got into the 85 at the bottom of the track at about the same time, and then Doug Roth comes in and gets some front end damage hitting the 77. So that's just a product of very difficult racing. The tires are sensitive here, especially with the way the bumps work. And when Aaron started losing that car, he had that big pack behind him, and they all just kind of bunched up and got together. You
bet. And a lot of them coming down pit road here. 7 laps in the books here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Of course, quite a few of them that need to get the sheet metal pulled away from the tires here. But Barry Hines working his way down pit road, the 57 machine. A lot of these guys coming down because of the condition of the track. I'm sure it's going to be 4 new shoes and a bucket of oats for these Cowboys. And, of course, that's what I would do here as well. But working our first caution here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, let's go ahead and take our first commercial break. You're watching live, ETV Live Cowboy, so don't wander off. We'll be right back.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Travis, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4, and the checkered flag, he wins his first Asphalt iRacing.
InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
And welcome back live here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and we're going to go in car with J. Randall Watkins through that melee back here. First caution here tonight coming out on lap 7. 25 car getting a little bit out of shape and bringing out, I guess, what could be construed as the big one. Of course, the race tonight being sponsored by Inside Sim Racing TV. And I tell you, your first and best choice for all the news and reviews in online motorsports. You can join Darren Ganji and Sean Cole for all the latest and greatest in product reviews, simulation auto sports racing games for PCs, and the Xbox crowd, from steering wheels to full-size racing rigs, updates on popular racing games, and a whole lot more. The yellow pages of online racing, Inside Sim Racing TV. As the caution comes out again.
Yeah, it looks like in turns 3 and 4, the 81 was getting a big run on Eric Arnold, and Arnold wasn't quite expecting it. The caution taking place in a battle for 4th position. So a lot of cars right up front get involved, including the 86 of Aaron Truscott, but Almindo was looking below the 47, who was running a little higher than he wanted to be, and when the 47 tried to get a little bit lower in the groove, the 81 was there trying to get his nose inside. And a big wreck out front. Would have to see at least 5 or 6 cars sustain heavy damage in this, including the 15 of Rhett McBride. Appears to be about a 4-car wreck, and looks like everyone else. Aaron Groskop, after the fact, gets into a car that was sliding back onto the track, and that was the 11 of Steven Maddox.
So caution number 2 comes out here at Atlanta Motor Speedway here on lap 10, and I'm looking at it from my replay, and I've got either I don't know if it's my equipment or might be somebody on the track, but I'm looking at the 81 car. Might have been blinking here a little bit. I don't know whether that might have been part of the cause or not, but it may be my equipment. But caution number 2 here at Atlanta.
Yeah, a lot of cars heavily involved, and we see a number of people coming back onto pit road. Stefan Marinac kind of surprised me because he did not pit on the first caution, and he does stay out on this one as well. But the tires tend to plateau after after 10 or so laps, where they will all be running about on top of each other's lap times. So Marinak not in a terrible position right now. I think he likes being out front, especially after just seeing them all wreck around 4th position. But Bobby Terrell choosing to stay out on that on this caution as well. But a number of guys from about 10th on back all came down pit road to get some rubber, and certainly a good 5 or 6 cars coming down to fix a considerable amount of damage. So 12 laps into this race, we have 2 quick cautions after an 8-lap run to start the race. And right now, we've still got 25 on the lead lap, but the 77 of J. Randall Watkins and the 42 of Jimmie Jones currently multiple laps down with a lot of damage. You
bet, and we apologize for coming back a little bit late on that one. I was busy looking at all my notes, and I never even looked up at the screen here. But the second caution of the night here, of course, again, the race being sponsored by Inside Sim Racing TV. You can catch those boys, Darren and Sean, over there at isrtv.com. And they usually got a pretty good show over there. I mean, you talk about reviews. They can do they do reviews about equipment, sim racing equipment, steering wheels, pedals, racing rigs, even the most popular, if not all, of the simulation racing games that are available, not just for the PC but also for the Xbox crowd too. I've never had any experience with that Xbox, never seen one, never messed with one, don't even know what the hell it is. So, but I understand it's a pretty cool game, console game, I think they call it, Harrison.
Yeah, the Xbox, certainly one of the more popular consoles right now, the 360, but console gaming been pretty big lately with a lot of the internet play coming into the forefront recently. And of course, everyone's excited about the new Xbox One, which I think is coming out, and the PlayStation 4. But coming up, I think we're going to get the one to go this time by, if I'm not mistaken, on the pace car, which we do. And Bobby Terrell, currently in 2nd place in that 7 car, has slightly better tires than the 24, but what this caution does for the 24 is I think it narrows the gap. Now the 7's got 1 heat cycle on those tires, and the 24 of Stefan Marinak isn't at as much of a disadvantage as he was before. So Marinak, the only car who hasn't pitted yet this race, but so far so good. And certainly he will be on the same strategy as the guys around him before long, probably when they go and make their 2nd pit stop. But the wave around is Jimmie Jones, and he goes by the leaders, and everyone pulls low and lets him by as they work their way down the backstretch to come to the green flag in about half a lap.
And let's keep an eye on John Abbott too. John Abbott's going to restart in 4th position in that number 10 machine. John Abbott finished 2nd here last season at Atlanta here at this race. So keep an eye on number 10. He's up there in the top 5. So we'll see if he can hang on to it. Marinak, Terrell, LeVere, Abbott, Harvey, Lanza, Van Meter, Keith Brooks Jr. in the top 10, Nathan Bowers and Marvin Turnmeyer, your top 10 when we go green here. Marinak's going to pick up the green flag here. Pace car is off, almost flips on its backside doing it, but off to a good run here. We'll see if we can keep it going here into turn 1.
Yeah, John Abbott, the 10 car, I was just looking at the results from last night's truck race, and he actually finished 3rd here at Atlanta, so this might be one of his favorite tracks. But Bobby Terrell, not the start that he was looking for. Right now, he's side by side with the 66 of Bryan Harvey. Bryan trying to take 3rd position away from him, so CJ LeVere in the 4 got a good start. Bobby Terrell, not so much, currently stuck on the outside as Harvey tries to complete the pass, and Marinak is being pressured by the 4 of CJ LeVere as they start lap 16.
We're watching the 7 come off of turn 4 there. It's it's a bump and grind coming off the turn. And we're not talking about side by side here. We're talking about the actual track condition here, as you can watch the cars just bounce up and down going around this place here tonight. But Terrell is going to give it up to Bryan Harvey. But Terrell's one that he'll sit there. And, he's very patient, and, he's not one to just jam it up front and stay there. He's going to work himself up there and be very patient about it. But John Abbott sitting back here in 5th position, he'll be putting the pressure on that number 7 for sure. Remember, like I said, John Abbott finished 2nd here last year, this is pretty much his track. And of course, you mentioned the truck race last night. So, John Abbott can put a pretty good race together here. And I think this is his track here tonight.
Yeah, and seeing the different styles between the 7 and the 66. The 66 of Bryan Harvey got to third position, and then we saw him just wash up the track a lap ago in turn 4. So I think Harvey was running the tires more aggressively, and you were completely right about Bobby Terrell. I think Bobby is being a little easier on his stuff right now. As he's running a cleaner line, he seems to be entering a little easier and coming off hard. And the 7 car goes back into third, and John Abbott follows him. So John Abbott up to 4th. Just a moment ago, taking a spot from Bryan Harvey, who was trying to work his way back to the leaders, but Bobby Terrell gets the spot back, and they're actually closing their way in on the leaders little by little. But right now, Marinak not being pressured at all by CJ Levere, as he actually gets a little bit loose while working underneath the lap car, and that opens the door for the 4 of CJ Levere, who will get there and is side-by-side with the 24 entering turn number 3.
Challenge for the lead up here as CJ Levere goes after the 24, Stefan Marinak. Remember, Marinak did not pit. CJ Levere, I believe, has got a lot fresher tires on that machine of his, that number 4 machine. So, and a change for the lead as he goes around Stefan Marinak. Bobby Terrell now sitting in third, actually still sitting in third position here, watching that action happen out in front of him. Still has John Abbott breathing down his neck. Let's go back here just a little bit more. I was going to go back to the 5 car of Josh Chaney. He's on the move forward too, and he's got a couple up in front of him right now in 8th position. He's going to go around the 77 on the bottom here. J. Randall Watkins, remember, he was involved in one of those cautions, if not both of them, has some damage on that number 77 machine, so it's probably going to slow him down.
Yeah, Josh Chaney in that 5 car actually qualified 23rd, which I did not realize just how quickly he had moved through this pack. He actually restarted in the 13th or 14th position. So started 23rd, already gained 15 spots and gained 5 spots since the green flag just a couple of laps ago. So Josh Chaney right now holding strong in 8th, trying to chase down the 66 of Bryan Harvey. As we look up front, Marinak back on the rear bumper of CJ Levere. It's hard to get away from other cars here, and CJ being pressured even with the fresher tires compared to Marinak. So it looks like this lead for CJ might be short-lived unless the 24 is feeling very patient. But what this little battle has done is it's reeled in the guys from third on back. Bobby Terrell last lap was the fastest car on the track, and right now just chasing down 100th by 100th the 2 lead cars. And he's got John Abbott and David Lanza right with him. Lanza last week finished 2nd, and right now the 5th place car all within about half a second of the leader. So it's a nice 5-car breakaway in this field right now.
And Bryan Harvey, he's going to bring up the 6th position here. He's about almost 1.5, we'll call it 1.5 seconds back of CJ Levere. So this second pack of cars here starting with Bryan Harvey, and then Josh Chaney coming along very nicely as well. Bo McGuire in 10th position back here in the number 50. Now he's quite a ways back of the rest of them. Bo McGuire sits back here almost 7 seconds behind. So these guys getting all spread out here on the track. Of course, a lot of these guys, Harrison, you know, some damage to the front end of these cars, and a draft is vitally important here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You got to have it to get by here. If you don't, you're just not going to get anywhere. J. Randall Watkins looking to get around Keith Brooks Jr., who just about had a moment there coming off of turn 4. But we'll keep an eye on number 78 here, back here in 9th position. Keith Brooks Jr. Looks like he was losing the handling out from under it. That looks like he's actually still losing it. He's a little bit wicked coming off of turn 2 here, but we'll keep an eye on these guys here tonight.
Yeah, the 78 getting really loose and hasn't quite got the tires back under control, but when you start losing the rear end in these cars at this track, it can be scary because the bumps just upset the car's handling. So any little bit that you're off is just really damaging. And like you said, aerodynamics is so important here that I noticed a lot of these cars that were damaged are actually pitting during this green flag run. I know just when we restarted this race, I think there were 21 or 22 in the lead lap. That has narrowed to 18. John Eller is the last car in the lead lap right now, and he's all on his lonesome, 22 seconds behind the leader. So 18 on the lead lap, and a lot of cars actually pitting during green to get their stuff under control, or maybe gain that speed so that they're fast enough just to hang in there. Sometimes, you want to bite the bullet, so to speak, and lose a couple laps just to get your car right enough that it drives well enough that you won't be at risk for bringing out a caution or being 5 seconds off the pace. So a lot of drivers wisely choosing to do that right now, as the lead battle, Marinak has actually started to pull away from his competition. It appears that as these tires have evened out, he's showing that he's pretty good at this track. He's got a handle on it right now. Bobby Terrell up to second place, but about 0.4 of a second back. So move Bobby Terrell ahead of CJ LeVere up to second, but with fresher tires, just not able to close on Marinak just yet.
I think CJ LeVere may be having some handling difficulties on the number 4 machine. Just passed a note here by Laura Lawson. Of course, she's got that bird's eye view through several monitors working the cameras down there. So maybe something that she had seen might have been when Terrell overtook that 4 car. But CJ LeVere probably having some kind of difficulty here. 29 laps in the book here, 130 on the board. We're just shy of 100 laps to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Of course, the race being sponsored by Inside Sim Racing TV. Sean and Darren over there at ISRTV.com. You got to check those cowboys out. They put on quite a show and do some pretty in-depth interviews. A lot of stuff featured on our webpage over there at ISRTV.com. But as I said, now 30 laps in the books here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's talk about Doug Roth here for a minute, and I just had him. He's in here he is. He's in 16th position. Doug Roth is fighting for his life for a top 10 shot and a chase in the Monday night series here at Real Sim Racing, and he's slipped down a couple of notches. I think he sits just outside the top 10 now, so he's struggling to get a bid for the chase series for the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series here on ETV Live on Monday night. So, but Doug Roth running in 16th position here tonight at Atlanta in the Nationwide Series for Real Sim Racing. This is the Asphalt Assault Series. And Harrison, we're going to be giving away a free paint job here from Hippie's Paint Shop. Now, if you've seen Hippie's paint jobs, I'll tell you what, they're pretty much in demand. This guy does a fantastic job. HippiesPaintShop.com, and the free paint job is going to go to the first person who offers a comment on YouTube, on the broadcast YouTube you're watching right now from Atlanta Motor Speedway. So the first person to offer a comment on YouTube gets a free paint job from Hippie's Paint Shop. HippiesPaintShop.com.
Yeah, there's about 5 or so painters in the iRacing community, the oval side of it all, that have become very well known, and Hippie's Paint Shop is one of those that you can see actually plastered on a lot of the cars here tonight. Even when it's not a main sponsor, I've seen a lot of these cars looking very good with the drivers' respective sponsors with a Hippie's Paint Shop logo on it. So quite a few cars done by that paint shop, and I tell you, they're looking very good. So I like that prize. It's always cool to get a nice paint scheme done by somebody who can do the job right.
Yeah, he takes a lot of time with his paint jobs, and very professionally done. HippiesPaintShop.com. One car that's not here tonight is the number 84 car. That's Jimmy North, and I'm not quite sure why he's not at Atlanta Speedway. He usually runs the Asphalt Assault Series. Of course, that's always a topic of discussion on our radio show, Rewind, BS, and Back Talk. And this week we had to record ours, pre-record ours, and it's already available for download or listening to on the rewind-radio.net website. It's segment or episode number 9. And Marinak back out in front.
Yeah, Marinak actually getting
something. I don't know. I just was passed a note and it had somebody whispering in my ears. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, Marinak actually being chased down by the 7 of Bobby Terrell. As I heard that we actually have a winner for the Hippies Paint Shop contest very quickly, might I add. So we've got some people watching at the moment. But Bobby Terrell right now just seems to be a little bit faster than Marinak, but it seems like when he gets within a certain gap, he might be starting to push a little bit. There might be a little bit of that aero push. A lot of times it's easy to get loose here, but for the people who are trying to avoid that, they might be pushing their right front tire to keep it stable, and that might be a situation where Bobby might be just struggling a little bit with getting this car to turn how he likes. So Marinak in open air, certainly liking it right now, hasn't hit, but able to hold the lead for, I believe, every lap of this race so far. So with what are we, 38 laps into this race out of a 130 lapper, this is a lot of valuable laps led from Marinak, who's trying desperately to get every point that he can on Bobby Terrell, as Terrell actually works a little bit closer to him, just had a great 1 and 2. So Bobby wants to stop Marinak from leading the most laps and get every point that he can, but right now Marinak doing his job.
You bet, and like we said at the top of the show, it's about who has the biggest pile at the end of the season. Marinak has it now. Terrell wants it bad. They're only 12 points apart coming into this race, so a lot at stake even here at Atlanta, and especially even with still a number of races. I think we got 13 or 14 more races to go, I believe. But through my confusion here with just a moment ago, I was handed a note. We have a winner from the hippiespaintshop.com free paint job here, and it's going to go to, if I'm saying it right, Ultimo Big Truck, whoever that is. You just won yourself a free paint job from that paint job from Hippies Paint Job.
Yeah, at least 2 of the top 4 cars with Hippies Paint Shop on their vehicles, as we see 4 that we've seen all race long. And just as I say that, the 24 grabs the apron, runs up the track. When your left side's getting a little bit too low, you lose all lateral grip and you just go up the track. The 7 car should clear the 24, but the 24 is not going to give it up that easy. Marinak fighting back, but Bobby to the inside of Stefan, and David Lanza should be following the 7 car with that low groove being the preferred groove. But I tell you, Marinak holding strong right now. Bobby not able to complete that pass yet, but he's looking to get a good run off of 2, and they're still side by side with the 33 right there on him.
And I'll tell you what, the 7 car should prevail here with a little bit of draft coming off the help of the 33 machine. But I'll tell you what, the 24 machine's got a boatload of horsepower up here, Cowboy, as he fights back up here on the top side. Second lap around here, down the front stretch, across the stripes. The 24 is going to score that lap going into turn 1. He's got a little bit of an advantage going in, but Terrell's got the bottom groove down here. But I'll tell you, that horsepower coming out of that number 24 machine, he will prevail on the top side. Even the 33, no help to the 7. Can't get the job done, Cowboy. The 24 still holds the lead.
That was really impressive by Stefan Marinak to hold on to the lead. The high side, you don't want to be there. Part of it might be maybe Bobby is a little bit tight, and when you can't run the car as wide as you would like on exit, you're just scrubbing speed in the center. The 24 Marinak able to drive into the corner deeper and carry a little more center speed with that wider radius when you run on the outside groove. So Marinak gets the lead back and is not looking back right now. He's clear by at least 2 or 3 car lengths, and now Bobby Terrell in the 7 is going to have to deal with the 33 of Dave Lanza, as Dave is right there on him, looking to get to the 2nd position. Lanza, who qualified in 7th, just working his way forward as they work around the 09 of the damaged car of John Ehlers, trying to stay out of the way right now.
And the 4 car of C.J. LeVere in 4th position here when Terrell and Marinak were duking it out here, had brought the 4 car just a little bit closer, but now the things kind of got squared away. Now they're back at it again up front. The 7 alongside the 24 machine here. One more time, going to go after it here. Marinak up on the top. Remember, the horsepower prevailed here last time around. But I'll tell you what, Bobby Terrell's got his foot buried in the gas pedal here tonight. The 33 car on the bottom, right behind the number 7, trying to offer us a little bit of help, drafting help maybe, and it's a no-go. Down the backstretch we go. The 24 machine still working that top side up here. In the meantime, C.J. LeVere is inching closer and closer as these guys duke it out up here in the front. But Terrell and Marinak still holding their own up here side by side into turn 1.
Yeah, Terrell took advantage of that lap car to the inside and got a great run off of turn 2. Marinak lost some speed coming around the lap car, and he lost some speed right there as the 7 car clears the 24 of Marinak with Lanza following him through, and keep Bobby Terrell to the lead 48 laps into this race. He'll have to do a lot of leading to catch up to that most laps led total. But Bobby up to the lead with Lanza up to second, and CJ actually gets by the 24. The 24 of Marinak goes from the lead to 4th, but able to get in line in 4th right now. John Abbott rounds out the top 5, but he has lost the lead draft and is just doing all he can. I think on the older tires he just can't quite keep up with those guys as of right now. But actually, Bobby Terrell under pressure from David Lanza. Lanza going for the lead right now. They're side by side out of turn number 4. The 33 looking to lead his first lap of the day, and it won't be this lap. But Lanza has looked very strong, looking to complete that pass and see how he can fare out front. But Bobby just gets a great run entering turn number 1, and coming out of 2 will retain that lead in front of the 33.
David Lanza started in 13th. He finished 5th here last season at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So that number 33 machine certainly knows how to get the job done here tonight as he battles the number 7 for the lead. And that brought CJ LeVere, who was struggling earlier in the number 4 machine. He now sits in 3rd position as he takes a chunk off the wall. The 4 takes a chunk, we call it a souvenir here on ETV Live. So I'll tell you what, even with about 50 laps or so, 49 laps to go here at Atlanta, there's still a lot of racing to go. These dudes are battling it out like it was the last 10 laps of the race.
Oh, and CJ did a mistake that I have been known to make myself, and that's the right side of these cars juts out a little more than you would think. And when you try to get that wide arc into turn number 1, sometimes you push it a little too far, and CJ did just that, capturing the wall. Which certainly can do a number on the car, so he might have gotten away with it, or he might be dealing with a much tighter race car, but basically that's as best as you can do when you hit the wall like that. Right now I think he's fading a little bit, probably took a little rotation out of the car by hitting the wall like that, but tough break for CJ there, but he has no pressure from the 5th place car right now, or the 4th place car rather. But Bobby Terrell right now holding on to the lead with Lanza right in his tracks. Certainly on this long run, those 2 cars have separated themselves as being possibly the best on long runs this race. Bobby taking a wide entrance and Lanza looking low, but not quite there to do anything with him right now, as we do see quite a bit of lap traffic in front of them, but they're all spread out, and it shouldn't be too much of a factor in this race.
Another battle shaping up back here as Bo McGuire gets around the 57 machine. Oh, and we got one on the bottom here. That's the, I believe that was the 70, or no, who was that that just got passed? Things are so kind of out of kink here a little bit, but back here about 9th and 10th position, it was Barry Hines and Bo McGuire who were duking it out big time here. Big battle going on back here 9th and 10th. Oh, it looks like McGuire takes a piece out of the wall. He gets a souvenir. And I'm trying to think, I'm trying to look and see what, I believe that was Marinak. Marinak has gone down 1 lap. Stefan Marinak has slipped to 17th position, short pit. That puts him back 1 lap, and we'll have to see if he can get that back. But I believe it was Marinak who went flying past I believe Hines and McGuire. Oh, as McGuire takes another souvenir off the wall. Down on the apron, the 50 goes. He's trying to woe that cowboy up and get that thing slowed up. He's going to go into the, oh, just barely. McGuire losing it on pit road here, just barely makes it into his box. Wow, that's worth a second look.
Yeah, Bo McGuire is struggling for a couple of laps there, had some damage, and he'll actually bring it behind the wall. He must have upset that car so much that he did not want to run the rest of this race with a broken car. As we saw him, as he tried to woe it down to bring it to pit road, he did speed and then took it behind the wall. But Marinak, because he didn't pit on those first couple of cautions, he actually had to come down into and do his green flag pit stop, which put him a lap down. It doesn't feel like it's been a full fuel run, but it has, and so that means within 10 or so laps, we should see the leaders make their way to their pit stalls as well. Right now, Bobby Terrell and David Lanza still up front. CJ LeVere is about a second behind them, and then 2 seconds behind LeVere is Harvey. So green flag pit stops coming up soon for these leaders, I do believe.
Yeah, it was lap 51 when Stefan Marinak makes his pit stop, and it's 4 new shoes and a bucket of oats for that 24 machine. A good fast stop on pit road. And, of course, Marinak is off the pace, off the sequence of the rest of the cars. Remember, he did not take the opportunity to come down pit road on the first couple of cautions. So McGuire staying out is off sequence, but he should be good to go to the end here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So we'll see what happens here. That means that Bobby Terrell, David Lanza, and LeVere, these cowboys are going to have to bring them ponies down pit road and get a bucket of oats and 4 new shoes for them as well. So we'll wait and see what happens there. But Stefan Marinak should be good to go for the rest of the race here at Atlanta.
Yeah, Marinak just really hoping that these green flag stops fully circulate, and should I use the wrong word there, but he wants to see these green flag pit stops go down without any incidents, because he wants to get back on the lead lap the easiest way he can. But Marinak, the interesting thing about short pitting there is he had those fresher tires for the early portion of this run right here, and he's making up all the time. Those leaders are losing seconds every lap. And when Bobby Terrell and David Lanza come back out of pit road, they'll have a lot fresher tires than the 24, but even though the 24 is running solo laps right now, he is simply pulling away from them should there not be a caution. So when they come out of pit road, they will be shocked by how much ground they have to make up, but they will start catching them quickly immediately. But Marinak right now shown in 15th position, and with the leaders working around a lot of lap traffic, he's not in the lucky dog position, so he's just hoping that those cars come to pit road as soon as possible.
CJ LeVere in the number 4 machine, who was just tenths off of the leaders up here, has now fallen to 1.1 seconds behind Terrell and Lanza. So CJ LeVere probably probably begging his crew chief, please bring me down pit road so I can get this thing squared away and back out on the track. But the number 4 CJ, who was, like I said, just tenths of a second bumpers off of the leaders up here, has now fallen, let's call it 1.2 seconds back of the leaders. That brings Bryan Harvey in the number 66 into 4th position. 5th is Josh Chaney, but these two cowboys, Josh Chaney 8.5 seconds back, Bryan Harvey 3.5 seconds back. A little bit of a spread there. No real threat for the leaders if they even come down pit road now. But I'll tell you what, I think you're right. I think they're going to have to make up a whole lot of time on the 24 machine. 24 is still running 1 lap down, but hey, that's just pit sequence. He's back here in 14th position. And everybody in front of him has yet to pit. So and certainly when they come around to green flag pit stops, keep your fingers crossed, that'll bring Marinak right back to the front.
Yeah, what I've seen out of these leaders is it seems like for most of these laps, they're entering turn 3 with a much wider arc. As these tires wear, they're just not gripping the way they were, and Atlanta's a track where you'll see a lot of these guys just start way high and bring it down as you see entering turn number 1. They're a lot higher than they were earlier in the run, but it'll be interesting to see how much further they can go on gas. Marinak might have short pit, not even because he was short on gas, but he might have came in a little bit earlier than he needed to because of a little bit of the track position that he was losing. So the 7 and 33, the 7's headed down pit road, and the 33 almost runs into the back of him, but the 2 leaders will pit this lap. We were wondering when it would be, and neither car spins on pit road. A nice entry for both cars, not wanting to make a mistake that would cost them for the rest of the race. So the 2 leaders come down. We'll have to see where they come out of the pits when they bring their cars back onto the track.
Watching the number 7 of Bobby Terrell roll it down into his pit box. The 33 of David Lanza already hits his. Keeping an eye on both cars. I'm sure it's going to be 4 new shoes and a bucket of oats for both of these. It doesn't matter who gets out first here at Atlanta. So with the 33 up and down on the right side, left side going up, Left side is down. He leaves his pit box. So does Terrell. Race to the commit line, and it's going to be the number 7 is going to beat the 33 out of pit road, but they are right together here. So let's see where Stefan Marinak is. Stefan Marinak is still in 11th position now. Green flag pit stops are underway here at Atlanta on lap 66, and certainly that's going to bring, when everybody in front of him gets done with their pit stops, that's certainly going to bring Marinak back to the front. It's just a matter of time to see how far back the 7 of Lanza and the 7 of Terrell and the 33 of Lanza will be to that number 24 machine here. With 66 laps in the books here from Atlanta Motor Speedway, green flag pit stops are underway.
Yeah, and exiting pit road right there, CJ LeVere is very slow on the track. He's having some kind of fuel pickup issue right now, or he forgot to, or maybe there was a can problem or something. CJ LeVere keying up on his radio that I believe he's out of fuel. He's on the apron going down the backstretch, entering turn number 3. He will get to pit road, I do believe. And with him on the apron, that should not bring out a caution. But what I was going to say there was Bobby Terrell, coming out of pit road, was on the flat. And David Lanza chose to be on the, just a little more banking than the flat, closer to the groove. And Lanza was getting a good run, but Bobby Terrell was getting loose on the apron. And as they left pit road, Marinak flew by in turn number 1. So Marinak, right now being shown about 5 seconds ahead of Bobby Terrell and Dave Lanza. So certainly 5 seconds to make up for those two, but CJ LeVere, costly mistake there, possibly mistakenly unchecked his fuel, and will have to come back in and lost a lot of ground, so CJ is going to need a caution. But Marinak to the lead, 4 seconds on the 7 of Bobby Terrell, and Bobby should be clicking off some laps quite a bit faster, right? Last lap was half a second faster, so Marinak should probably be greeted by these two cars who were leading the race before this run goes through. But right now, to the lead is the 24 Marinak, who's looking to lead the most laps, which should happen probably within 20 laps. He'll get that extra bonus point for most laps led.
And you're absolutely right about the 4 car. CJ LeVere, he leaves his pit box. Unfortunately, he's going to be a lap down now. It was fuel only for that number 4 machine. CJ LeVere makes a drastic mistake in fuel calculations, had to come back down pit road. So CJ LeVere, who had a top 5 run here tonight at Atlanta, is back in 15th position, 1 lap, almost 2 laps down to the leaders now. So what a devastating turn of events for that number 4 machine here tonight. Green flag pit stops looks like pretty much been completed here at Atlanta. Let's go ahead and step away. Let's take a commercial break. You're watching a live Cowboy, ETV Live. Remember, there is no other choice. ETV-eplay.net. Hey, don't wander off. We'll be right back.
Plus other listeners where you could hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll, country radio, ETV Live, sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com. a serious online racing enthusiast, you need Derek Spear Design, maker of high-quality, custom-built, and 50 caliber strong simulation racing products like button boxes, shifter pedals, component parts, and more. The advantage a championship sim racing driver needs. Rated 10 out of 10 by Inside Sim Racing TV. Check out his line of top-shelf sim racing products reasonably priced at DerekSpearDesigns.com and buckle in for a no-nonsense ride. DerekSpearDesigns.com today, cowboy.
Asphalt Assault Series here with Real Sim Racing League, sponsored by Inside Sim Racing TV. Top 10 looks like this. Stefan Marinac back out in front. In fact, he's 2.9 seconds back out in front of Bobby Terrell. David Landis sits in third position. Fourth goes to that number 66. Bryan Harvey having a good night. John Abbott, I said, keep an eye on that number 10 machine. He still sits in the fifth position here at Atlanta. Josh Cheney in sixth. Seventh goes to the 27 of Britt Van Meter, who's having a good night. Nathan Bowers in the 85 machine, who got caught up in an early caution, holding his own inside the top 10 and 8. And Keith Brooks Jr. having a solid night in the 78. He also got caught up in a couple of those cautions. And Barry Hines in the 57, rounding out your top 10. In fact, the top 10 are the only cars on the lead lap, Harrison.
Yeah, and Bobby Terrell right now was chasing down the 24, but as Bobby's tires have worn and as he works his way through lap traffic, it seems to have stabilized around a 3-second gap from Marinac back to the 7. But CJ LeVere was able to get one of his laps back under green while we were under brake. So CJ is one lap down, but he is not in a lucky dog position. So CJ would have to take a wave around or just hope to catch a break with a caution or go one lap further than everyone else. Or just he'll need some luck to go his way to get back in this thing. But CJ right now only one lap down, currently shown in 15th. Actually, I think CJ just got loose and might have lost that lap back again to Stefan Marinac. So 2 down for LeVere, but only 10 on the lead lap. And what you see a lot of those green flag pit stops is a lot of guys capitalizing on just doing the job smoothly and not, I think there might have been a couple of speeding penalties that we missed. Britt Van Meter running as high as he's run all race. Nathan Bowers got a few spots, as you mentioned before. Keith Brooks 9th, Barry Hines 10th, and John Wilco in 11th. And I remember John Wilco started shotgun on the field, not known for being aggressive. He's very in control, very smooth and stable and solid. And John Wilco right now has gained 16 spots, bringing that Skittles car up to the 11th position. So a nice run for him.
And, you know, that's what it takes here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The condition of the track, a very bumpy track, all the way around this place, really, as we watch these guys go. John Wickel doing an outstanding job at that number 62 machine. A lot of patience is what's needed to be successful here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Just in front of him is Barry Hines. He's duking it out up there with Keith Brooks. I believe that's Keith Brooks Jr. in the 78. Actually, no, that was the 24 machine, Stefan Marinac. So these guys about ready to go down a lap here with that Marinac coming back around at him. So, and there goes the 78. Marinac going past the 78 machine here at 82 laps in the book. So we got a chunk of racing still yet to go here. So it ain't over yet. But as the 24 just puts them up and puts them down here. Now only 8 cars on the lead lap as Keith Brooks falls victim to the 24. That's going to be Nathan Bowers, the last car on the lead lap. So I'll tell you what, you know, I'm still watching John Abbott. John Abbott has been running a pretty methodical lap. In fact, I asked him about being methodical the other night. He said, no, there's no such thing as being methodical. He just likes to put the hammer down and get to the front. But I'll tell you, he's been running pretty much the perfect race here all night long. He's been very consistent about his turn-ins, about his exits, and the horsepower getting up off the turn. So John Abbott doing a fine job running in the top 5 pretty much the entire night here at Atlanta after starting in 8th position. So we'll keep an eye on that number 10, see if he can't put it together near the end of this thing to put it up there in contention with the rest of them. But right now, Stefan Marinac has it. David Lanza now in second as Bobby Terrell slips back to third. Marinac turning about 30.49 second laps here to Lanza's 30.401. So maybe a matter of time. Lanza hunting down that number 24 machine.
Yeah, Lanza on the long run has been actually just a hair better than a lot of these guys. As Lanza right now in second, a lot of ground to make up. He probably can't get there until pit stops. Maybe he gets a better pit stop or a better pit stop entry. Should we get green flag pit stop again? But with only 8 now in the lead lap, and I tell you, it's going to be 7 real quickly because the 24 of Marinac is coming up on the 85 of Nathan Bowers. Nathan Bowers, I believe, 2 cars ahead of him right now, and probably within 5 laps that'll leave us with 7 on the lead lap. CJ Lavere, 2 laps down right now, still in 15th. It'll be really difficult for him to recover with just 45 laps to go. Exactly 45 to go.
And we're looking at the number 7 machine of Bobby Terrell. Just looking at Terrell's lap times, he's fallen quite a bit behind Marinac up here. Terrell running about 30.61 to Stefan Marinac's 30.52. So Marinac certainly on a tear here, but in between them is David Lanza with a 30.408 last time by. I tell you, David Lanza at number 43 or the 33 machine has got rocket fuel in that car of his, as he is trying to make up the time, the distance between him and Stefan Marinac, 3.3 seconds out in front. So Terrell falling to probably tires here. Remember Marinac. Marinac actually, I would think, would be suffering, a greater tire wear here, because remember he pitted way earlier than Lanza and Terrell. Remember Marinac had to come in. He was off sequence at the beginning of the race after those first 2 cautions. Lanza and Terrell, of course, they had a few more extra laps on their cars, so it's kind of bewildering to see Terrell dropping off like he is here, 3.7 seconds behind Stefan Marinac.
Yeah, I really thought that the 7 of Terrell would keep up a little more than he has this run. Excuse me, but one of the factors though is with the tire wear of this car. It seems like it'll drop pretty hard in the first 10 or 15 laps, and then it'll just seem to kind of hang there. Right now, all the cars are pretty close to equal in tire wear right now. Lanza and Terrell just not able to capitalize early on in this run, and Marinac certainly enjoying it. But Lanza still is the fastest car on the track, just right now 3.3 seconds back. So Lanza overall has closed it, I would say, about 1.5 seconds overall, but certainly not there right now. But Marinac heavy in lap traffic right now, actually coming up on the 85 of Bowers to put him 1 lap down, and he is currently the last car in the lead lap. But some of these cars damaged earlier in the race, just trying to get out of everyone's way, and they just so happen to be right around the leader, just in front of him and just behind him. But CJ Lavere, currently in 14th, is actually keeping up with Marinac pretty well, which is frustrating because you have a car that can compete with this top 5, maybe even compete for the win, and he's just made a mistake and stuck 2 laps down at the moment. But as Marinac puts more and more people a lap down and 2 laps down, Lavere is right there to try to get some positions of his own.
And I tell you, Lavere, unless a miracle from God himself were to come down and strike Atlanta Motor Speedway and that number 4 machine, CJ Lavere, 2 laps down from the leaders here, it would just absolutely take a miracle for him to have any hopes at all getting back in contention here for anything, really, even a top 10 run. But I tell you what, we're watching Marinac picking him up, putting him down. Bryan Harvey back here in 4th position in the number 66 car. I tell you, here's another cowboy with John Abbott. This guy's just been kind of, moseying on around the track here, cruise control, getting in his turns with expertise here. He's making his marks, good exit coming off, knows exactly where he wants to be. And I tell you, solid run for this number 66, Bryan Harvey here tonight at Atlanta. So if he can just hang tight and hang in, he might have a top 5 finisher in the works with John Abbott, almost, let's call it 4 seconds behind the 66. So Bryan Harvey doing an outstanding job here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah, really nice run for Bryan Harvey. As we've seen, the longer the race go, the higher he is running. And this track, while it does have some super speedway type characteristics when everyone's on fresh tires, you can see just how difficult it is, because when the car gets some age, the tires get some wear on them. Well, we see just how much this field can spread out as the cream is rising to the top. Dave Lanza right now, within 3 seconds, he has broken the barriers, 2.8 behind Marinak, as Marinak was getting around lap traffic. And Terrell himself seems to might have got the handling on his car back. Maybe he was saving a little bit, maybe taking it easy. But Terrell, the last couple laps, has gained about has brought himself back up to the 33 of Lanza. And both right now seem to be about on par overall speed-wise with Marinak, but actually this lap they should gain about another 1/10 of a second, judging by the 24's lap times. But and actually, judging by my fuel calculations, I think Marinak might have to pit within 15 laps or so, maybe 10 laps, and that would be his final pit stop of the race, with about 35 to go right now, coming to 34 to go. So I do believe everyone needs to do one more pit stop, but some of the guys who pitted most recently might be close.
Yeah, you know, and I had made a mistake earlier when I said that Marinak should be good to go for the rest of the race. I was actually looking at a different set of numbers, but it gets a little bit confusing when you get to be my age. So at least I've got that excuse. But hey, how about Atlanta Motor Speedway, Harrison? This is one of the older tracks on the circuit, and it's one of the original 7. Darlington, Daytona, of course, Lowe's, back then it was called Charlotte Motor Speedway. I guess it's still Charlotte Motor Speedway. They're still in operation out of the original 7. But Atlanta was one of the earliest ones here on the NASCAR circuit. July 31st, 1960, and Fireball Roberts qualified on the pole for that race at a blistering 133 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's
a little
unbelievable.
bit of a tidbit there.
It is amazing just how much of a difference how far the technology has come. These cars underpowered compared to the Cup cars, and yet they are still, I believe the pole for this race was a 29.65, which is probably in the realm of 180 miles an hour. So these cars making about 650 horsepower. Actually closer to 190. Just tried to do the math in my head, and I'm definitely off. But close to 190 miles an hour qualifying time for these cars, and that's a solo lap. They could do a little bit better with some draft. But Atlanta Motor Speedway, when the track gets some age on it, it's some very cool racing, and I do think they're going to have to repave it within a year or so. In fact, this weekend's races I believe there's a caution somewhere on the track. The 57 is around on the front stretch, coming out of 4. Trouble for the 57 of Barry Hines, who was shown in the 10th position. It looks like
I'm trying to go ahead.
It looks like the 57 had some issue entering turn 3. He might have actually had a game freeze up on him or something. It looks like entering turn 3, he just didn't turn down in the corner, and then once you get stuck in the wall, it is wall glue literally sucking you in there. It's hard to get away from it. When he comes out of turn number 4, it doesn't look like he's under power. And then he comes down the track and collects the 15 of Rhett McBride, which is a tough break for Rhett. Probable game issue, I would say, for Barry Hines, just at a very inopportune time. Although Marinak might like being on the same strategy, and they will certainly all come to pit road. The 8 cars on the lead lap. I believe John Wilco will be the lucky dog, but I might be mistaken. I think John Wilco is in the spot.
Tough break for the 57 machine, and I'll tell you what, that wall glue, and depending on how long you've been sim racing, that's actually nothing new. Very difficult to peel off the wall once you get up there like that, and it's just basically you just got to crank it hard left and peel it off. But unfortunately, the 15 of Rhett McBride coming along at a pretty good clip, probably doesn't see what's going on up there, and by the time 57 is able to break loose, like you did, Harrison, that's kind of all she wrote for Rhett McBride's car there. But third caution of the night here, not a bad racing night, even with the 3 cautions. This will certainly set up a pretty terrific finish as everybody comes down pit road.
Yeah, Marinak with a 13.8 second pit stop, and he will come out of pit road first in front of David Lanza and Bobby Terrell. Bryan Harvey also down pit road. A good number of wave arounds right in front of them. I'll have to see if anybody stayed out that's on the lead lap, and no, nobody did stay out. So all the lead lap cars coming to pit road. CJ LeVere is one of those people electing to take a wave around, and he will be 1 lap down once they let him by the pace car. And there are 4 cars 1 lap down right now, I do believe. John Wilco was waved around, so he was the lucky dog, making him the 9th car on the lead lap. So from 27th spot, John Wilco, a sim racing veteran, moves his Skittles Chevrolet up to the 9th position, and he will have, and he will be the last car in the lead lap. No one will get to wave around from 1 lap down, so it will be John Wilco from 9th, not being pressured at all. So great run for him continues. So all of the lead lap cars electing to take 4 tires. Bit of a no-brainer at this track. Rough surface, tires wear. You want to get every ounce of grip that you can. And they come out of pit road basically the same way that they came in. Top 3 has not changed. Top 5, I believe the only position that might have changed is Josh Chaney was able to get into the top 5 and move around John Abbott. And based on Josh Chaney's lap times, I do believe he will be able to retain his top 5 position once we go green. He seems more than fast enough to keep up, and he might actually be able to keep up with the lead pack with the draft. Certainly when you lose the leaders, it is hard to make up any ground if they have multiple guys nose to tail. So we'll have to see if Josh Chaney is able to compete. I do think he'll get into this lead battle pretty quickly after we restart this race.
You bet. A little bit. I'm having some kind of
and JD having some internet issues at the moment as the wave around cars work their way around the pace car. I apologize for the technical difficulties at the moment, but as they will double up, the lead lap cars are making their way to their positions for the restart. Right now we've got Marinak, Lanza, Terrell Harvey, Chaney, Abbott, the 27 of Britt Van Meter. John Wilco will restart in the 8th position. Nathan Bowers in 9th, who came into pit road, I believe, last time by. So as the wave around cars, a big chunk of them working their way around the track about as fast as they can go, trying to catch back up. And they will in time for the restart, as we have at least 8 or 9 cars taking the wave around. The 57 still sitting on pit road. So as they work their way around 3 and 4, approaching the restart, we will have 28 laps to go at the drop of the green flag. And the pace car goes in, Marinak holding back, and he hits the gas, and he will have a sizable lead entering turn number 1. Lanza under pressure from the 7 car, Bobby Terrell, and the 66 of Bryan Harvey right there, but it's all Marinak. Bryan Harvey gets into the gets below Lanza in a quest for the 3rd position. He will have the preferred racing group coming out of turn number 2. So Bobby Terrell chasing down Marinak a little bit, with Marinak getting pretty far ahead of the field, but contact with the 5 gets into the 33. Is he able to keep it off the wall? Lanza does an awesome job saving that car. Unbelievable save for Dave Lanza, and I tell you, the 33 of Lanza, he is a sim racing veteran, and he certainly has a lot of ability and did an amazing job. That could have been a lot worse. A lot of people could have backed it into the wall. A lot of people would have possibly got into that 10 car sliding down the track. Lanza actually twitching when he gets the car to the apron, but gets it under control. So Lanza losing track position, but not losing his car, and that is big. And I think we will see him come down pit road under this caution just to get new tires, because he is being shown in 8th. The cause for that caution, the 5 car just slid up the track, accidentally got into the left rear quarter panel of the 33, but a great save once again.
Yeah, put the whole bag. Yeah, put that whole bag of feed in there. Yeah, put the whole bag in there. Yeah, the whole bag. I'm kind of coming back, guys. Somebody forgot to feed my hamsters, so we just fed them and they're spinning the wheels. So I'm actually on my way back. So.
And the 24 of Marinac will stay out under this caution. I'm not sure if anyone else came down pit road with Lanza. Actually, Lanza might have stayed out or just kind of missed pit road this time. But most guys electing to stay out. We're going to restart with about 20 to go. Right now we're showing 24 to go in this race. It went mostly green. Marinac has officially led the most laps of the race. I could say that without seeing the numbers in front of me. He surely has led the most laps of this race. Bobby Terrell cannot get that point back, but Bobby does have a shot at getting the win and chasing down that point lead regardless. But Bryan Harvey was able to get into the 3rd spot, and restarting in 3rd is where you want to be. Sometimes it's hard to get that good run when you're on the outside of the leader, and the guy in 3rd, and even the guy in 4th, can anticipate the leader better with the better visibility. So Bobby Terrell got his work cut out for him restarting on the outside here, but he does have good track position. And Josh Chaney showing in 4th. I believe he was the cause for that caution. I'm not sure if they're going to give him an end along this line penalty. Looks like Josh Chaney might be headed his way toward pit road right now.
And I am back. I have no idea what just happened, other than when I looked downstairs and looked into the hamsters that power my stuff up here. There was no food in their dish, so we just dumped a whole bag in. But anyway, back in the saddle again here, and CJ LeVere is back on the lead lap.
Wow, I totally missed CJ LeVere getting back onto the lead lap. He actually was the wave around for this caution. I totally forgot to look for the lucky dog, but it is CJ LeVere. Wilco was the last time, and CJ on that short little run was able to get himself into position. So I tell you, that's a nice recovery for CJ, as now he will restart somewhere around 10th or 11th, and he'll have the chance to recover from his pit lane mistake during that green flag run. So from 2 laps down to the lead lap, 1 wave around, 1 lucky dog, and we will have about 12 on the lead lap when we go green, I believe, or 11. I believe Doug Roth is on pit road and is actually going to be 1 lap down.
You bet. And hang in there a minute. Boy, I thought I was going to sneeze there for a minute. So anyway, all kinds of problems here. But I tell you what, this is shaping up to be quite the finish here. John Abbott still hanging out up here, worked himself up into a top 5 situation there. Bryan Harvey, that number 66, sitting in 3rd. Dude, you know what? If I was a betting man, I probably would have put something on that 66 car here tonight. The guy's been running a perfect race pretty much all night long. And look at David Lanza in the 33 machine. Slipped all the way back to 7th position. What's up to 33, Cowboy? Lanza had a solid finish here last season, finishing 5th. So hopefully he's going to be able to do a little bit better than that here last season. But Marinac, Terrell, Harvey, and Abbott, Brett Van Meter, your top 5 on the restart here when we get the green flag.
Yeah, and Lanza looking to recover from that big slide in 3 and 4. And with that slide, Britt Van Meter and Nathan Bowers both running as high as they have all race, shown in row number 3 on the start, 5th and 6th. But Marinac looking to get another great restart, hoping for the other guys to not get that big charge with the draft. Sometimes you don't want to get too big of a lead on fresh tires here, but Marinac in control, and Bobby Terrell will be pressured by Bryan Harvey on the start, most likely. And 33 will be restarting in 7th position. and he will try to make quick work of the guys in front of him. We're going to restart with 21 laps to go as the pace car is getting ready to turn in off of turn number 4.
And when they cross the start-finish line, it'll be 20 laps to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The green flag is in the air, and Marinak picks it up. Terrell up on the outside, losing a distance to the 66 down on the bottom. Harvey to second. Abbott along for the ride on the top side here as the 27 comes along. That's Britt Van Meter alongside the 10 machine. So I'll tell you what, as the race starts winding down here in Atlanta, Marinak out in front. He's been the class act of the day. But I'll tell you, watch that 66 machine, Bryan Harvey. Now, he is absolutely pouring the coals to that machine of his right now as he desperately tries to hang on to a second position with the number 7 of Bobby Terrell breathing down the bumper.
I'd say Dave Lanza, Bobby Terrell gets underneath the 66 of Bryan Harvey, and Terrell looks like he will get the position. That outside the front row restart position just was not where Bobby wanted to be. As I mentioned, as a driver, that's a position that you often can find yourself making mistakes in or reacting a little bit late in. Certainly, restarting second is not the best place to restart. But Lanza moves up from 7th to 5th pretty quickly. Right now, the 27 of Britt Van Meter. Let's give a call to Britt as he works under the 66 of Bryan Harvey, and that's for 3rd. Not able to get the good run off of turn number 2, and Dave Lanza looks underneath the 27 and backs out of a likely 3-wide situation. So Marinak still up front in control of the lead with the 7 right behind him, but Britt Van Meter just coming on strong late in this race. We've got 17 laps to go, 27 shown in 4th, and Terrell chasing down the 24 of Marinak right now.
And Terrell, looks like Terrell's lap time's 29.785 to Marinak's 29.847. So Terrell able to close the distance here with about 10th faster lap times on Marinak. But John Abbott has slipped back to 6th position after restarting 4th. So the number 10 machine, and we got a gaggle of cars back here in front of the 10. There's going to be the 33 and the 27 up here side by side. Across the stripes going into turn 1 here. That's Britt Van Meter and David Lanza side by side off of turn 2 down the backstretch. In the meantime, Bobby Terrell running down Stefan Marinak up here with 114 laps in the books. We are on the short side of things here in Atlanta. And I'll tell you what, this is shaping up to be one of those class act finishes if we can stay green to the end.
Yeah, right now it's a 2-horse race up front, but 3rd all the way back to about 8th is all together.
Terrell is there. Bobby Terrell is there. Terrell is there on the outside to 24 on the bottom. Terrell is there on the outside. Going to pull a swift one here. Coming down the backstretch. This is the same thing that happened earlier. As you recall, the 24 up on the outside, and he had the horsepower to do it. The 7 fighting hard on the top here. Stays in the throttle through the turn here. Getting real close to one another. 24 still on the bottom. Across the stripes, the lap is going to go to the number 7. And Bobby Terrell leads that one. Marinak still staying with it on the bottom of the 24 car. Side by side through turn 2. Down the backstretch we go again, Cowboy, as this horse race is still coming on strong.
You got to give it to Bobby Terrell in the 7. We saw earlier in the race he struggled to complete that pass low, and right there Marinak was defending the bottom, and Bobby said, "Okay, I'll go high, I'll go where you're not." As Marinak gets into the wall.
Marinak takes a souvenir off the wall.
Yeah, that was hard contact for the 24, and that will not help his case in trying to get back to the lead. But Bobby Terrell saw just how the 24 was able to hold him off with that high side, and when Marinak went to defend low, Bobby Terrell just went right high and was able to complete the pass. Really cool pass. You don't see too many passes on the high side at Atlanta with the Nationwide car, but Bobby just did just that. Right now, he's got about a 0.4 of a second lead, I would say, or a 2.5 of a second lead on Marinak, with Dave Lanza has moved up to 3rd, so he's gained 4 spots since the restart, and he wants to see those 2 race hard as they come to 12 to go next time by. The harder those 2 race, the closer Lanza can get to the top 2, and we might have a 4-car race here with Bryan Harvey before long.
C.J. LeVere, remember, he was 2 laps down here not long ago. C.J. LeVere looking on the inside of the top 5 up here, running in 6th position in that number 4 machine. and he is inside the top 5, crosses the start-finish line. C.J. LeVere coming from a 2-lap deficit here at Atlanta in that number 4 machine, able to put it together here late in the race and come out on the top side. Terrell still out in front with Marinak running him down. David Lanza in the number 33 car. I tell you what, as the laps start winding down, 0.8 of a second off of Marinak and Terrell up here in front. Lanza's got his work cut out for him, but I tell you, the night has to go to C.J. LeVere at number 4. What an incredible night for him, coming from 2 laps down, just not 10 or 15 laps to go, Harrison.
Yeah, and he restarted 10th and quickly moved up. In about 5 laps, he gained at least 5 positions, and C.J. LeVere running out of time as Lanza is trying to chase down and actually inching closer and closer to Terrell and Marinak. Terrell just simply not able to pull away. Early on in these runs, they could run close to each other, and I would say actually the top 3 in the race are very close in the long runs, so they're going to be with each other regardless. But Marinak right on the 7 of Terrell, and he does not want to give any points away with that 12-point lead, especially after leading the most laps and seemingly the dominating factor in this race. As you see these guys go a very wide arc entering turn number 3 as he's trying to get the car to rotate. I think Marinak just a little bit too tight after hitting the wall a few laps ago, but we'll see if he can compete for this win, as we have, I believe, 9 laps to go, about 8.5 at this point, as Marinak just doing all he can, but gets really loose using the apron in 1 and 2, just not able to get the grip that he needs at this moment.
8 laps to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. John Abbott in the number 10 machine slips back another couple of notches in 7th position. Looking at the bumper of the number 85 machine, that's Nathan Bowers up there holding the fort down. C.J. LeVere in 5th up here in the front. But I'll tell you what, these Cowboys almost 2 seconds in back of the leaders. And then Bryan Harvey, I'll tell you what, Bryan Harvey with an incredible run here at Atlanta in that 66 machine, holding his own here inside the top 5. But I'll tell you, keep an eye on the front row up here. Stephen Marinak and Bobby Terrell, I don't think this is over yet. Marinak reporting a little bit of damage to the 24 car here about a lap and a half ago. David Lanza knows that. He can see the bumpers of both of those cars up there. Lanza coming on strong in the closing laps.
Yeah, it sure looks like it's going to be one of those classic Atlanta finishes. It always seems that Atlanta brings out the closest in these races, and the 24 Marinak doing all he can, but as he's doing all he can, he's being met with pressure. The 33 of David Lanza with a great run is on the 24's bumper of Marinak, and he will look low entering turn number 3. Marinak backs out pretty early. I don't think he thought that he could have held off Lanza right there and thought he would have done more harm than good. So Marinak gets behind the 33 as Dave Lanza gets very loose through 3 and 4, running a defensive line down the front stretch. And now we'll have to see when Lanza gets his car under control, will he be able to chase down the 7 of Bobby Terrell? Now Lanza seems to be at his best on older tires, and Lanza right now works on chasing down Bobby Terrell as Lanza actually edges the 24 exiting too. It seems that the 24 is just a little bit too tight since making contact with that wall, but coming to 5 laps to go, Bobby Terrell in the lead, and does Lanza have enough time to chase him down?
David Lanza's lap time's not just about a half a tenth off of Bobby Terrell here, a little bit quicker than Terrell. Don't know if there's going to be enough time for him to get there or not. And I'll tell you what, he made a quick trip out of the number 24 machine. David Lanza now sitting in 2nd position, trying to chase down that number 7 up here with 5 laps to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. But I'll tell you what, the night belongs to C.J. LeVere, the number 4 machine, still holding down a top 5 position here. John Abbott, he claims one more victim here, gets around the 27 of Van Meter, so John Abbott moves up 1 notch to 6. C.J. LeVere in 5th. Bryan Harvey still holding down a 4th place run here tonight with C.J. LeVere looking hard at the bumper of that 66 car. So I'll tell you what, as the laps start winding down here, don't know if Lanza's going to have enough time to get there. Marinak slips back to 3rd. He's pretty much out of the running here with a damaged race car here late in the race. So I believe the night will go to Bobby Terrell if everything stays as it is. And I'll tell you what an incredible night here. We got 3 laps to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah, David Lanza just inching closer and closer. C.J. LeVere, by the way, inching closer and closer to Bryan Harvey. It should be a duel for 4th position, but I don't think C.J. has enough time to get to the leaders. But Lanza just inching closer and closer. We're going to come to the line with 2 laps to go. The 33 car of Lanza just hoping for a mistake out of Bobby Terrell, but Terrell looks smooth, solid, and consistent, has not made any mistakes in the lead, but Lanza just a little bit faster, throws it into turn number 1.
Oh, 62 car. John Wilco off the track in the grass, no caution. But John Wilco battling out back here, 11th and 10th position here. Josh Cheney out in front of him. Wilco looking on the inside of Cheney, couldn't get the job done. Goes through the grass, mows the grass on the front stretch, hangs on to it. But Wilco, no chance of trying to get that position that Cheney has up here in 10th. But in the meantime, as we come back around, white flag, Bobby Terrell out in front, David Lanza closing in on the number 7. This will be the last trip around Atlanta Motor Speedway for these Cowboys. Stefan Marinak all the way back here, 0.6 of a second off the leaders. Bobby Terrell out in front of David Lanza. Lanza not enough horsepower to get there. The final lap coming here across the start-finish line, and this will be it.
Bobby Terrell crosses the line to get the win. He holds off David Lanza. Lanza with his second consecutive second-place finish, but Terrell, making the most at the end of the race with that pass on the high side, will gain points on points leader Stefan Marinak. Marinak probably kicking himself after hitting the wall, fades to 3rd. Still a good points night, but I guess you never truly consider it a good points night if you ended up losing points to your competition. So this battle for the points lead and this championship keeps getting more and more interesting.
You bet. I'll tell you what, getting out of here with, I believe it was 5 cautions, if I'm not mistaken. I believe I might have missed one with my little technical episode there. But 5 cautions here at Atlanta. Of course, big, long green flag runs between the first 2 on lap 7 and lap 10. And I'll tell you what a terrific night here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Bobby Terrell picking up the trophy for the night in that number 7 machine as he burns off what's left of the rubber there on the start-finish line here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's go ahead and step away. Let's take a commercial break. When we come back, the post-race show here from Atlanta. You don't want to miss that one. So we'll see you here in just a few seconds.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Drivers, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4, and the checkered flag, he wins his first Asphalt racing.
InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, where we just witnessed one of the most incredible races here that you'd ever want to see. Of course, if you haven't seen it before, you got to tune into these Cowboys every Thursday night here with Real Sim Racing, Asphalt Assault Series, and of course the other series that we're not going to talk about on Monday nights. But I'll tell you what, Bobby Terrell, when you watch his Cowboy race, you're watching a race. This dude can put one together, and he did tonight. Bobby started in the second row here tonight. Of course, he's been duking it out with Stefan Marinak. Bobby, what an incredible run here tonight.
Yeah, thank you, man. That was man, that was unbelievable, man. I didn't think I really had anything for Stefan at all. I mean, he was clearly fast all night, and David, I wasn't sure, and I was going to be happy with the top three, top five, and like I said, I wasn't sure if I had anything for him or not. I mean, was riding behind him for a while, and then I let David pass me just to see if he could catch up to Stefan, and I knew if it stayed green that Stefan would have to pit quicker, so I wasn't really worried about that too much, and I knew I could almost make it to the end and maybe take a splash. So, but it played out in my favor. I'll take it.
There you go. And, I know we'll be talking to Stefan here in a little bit, but the mistake he made may have been the exit off one of the turns where he took a little bit of a souvenir off the wall. That may have upset his car. Do you think? Did you see that at all, or did that play any part in the 7 able to get around the 24?
I saw him brush the wall, but I wasn't sure if he had damage or not. I just figured that his was a little tighter than mine, so I knew he was. Looked like he was fighting a tight condition, and where I think I put more fuel in it, and mine was still a little bit on the loose side, so. I wasn't sure if he got damage or not, though, but he fell back, so he may have.
Let's talk about the track here for just a minute, Bobby. This is a wicked fast 1.5 mile track, Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's been here for a long time, 1958, 59, somewhere in that neck of the woods. Bumpy as hell, as I understand it. What were some of the difficulties you had in keeping the number 7 pointed forward and out in front?
Well, the track's just, like you said, it's real tricky. The bumps are somewhat bad, but not too awful bad. It's just the setup. It's a little loose, and then after it goes loose, it's kind of neutral, and then toward the end of the run, it starts getting tight. So you have what I call a loose, pushy, condition as it wears on, and it actually goes from wearing out the right rear to wearing out the right front. So it's kind of a flip flop, setup. So. It's just the track. It's just the way it is. It's not one of my better tracks, but I've got a lot of good tracks coming up that I like. But this one here, like I said, I would have been happy with the top 3.
With no chase here in a nationwide series, it's the driver with the biggest pile at the end of the season who wins. Bobby Terrell coming in 12 points behind Stefan Marinak. Bobby, who makes it happen for you, bud?
I'd like to thank you guys up in the booth, ETV, for the wonderful job you do. I watch it every weekend, or after the race is over, I go back and watch it. I really enjoy the show. Inside Sim Racing for sponsoring it. Real Sim Racing for putting such a awesome race on. Hippie's Paint Shop, Derek Spear Designs, Stroker Race Team, Red Ass Chassis. My teammates. I'm sure I'm leaving some people out, but I thank them all.
And I'll tell you what, incredible night for the number 7 tonight. Bobby Terrell picking up the trophy. I'm going to throw it on down pit road. I believe Harrison standing by with our second place finisher tonight. Standing in for David Lanza is Chad Cole. Harrison?
Yeah, David Lanza had to run out of the track due to some prior commitments. It was in a rush, but I've caught up with his crew chief, Chad Cole, calling shots for him and spotting and giving him all kinds of advice during the race, I'd imagine. And Chad Cole is a staple of RSR. And while you were watching your driver Lanza there around this track, you had to hold your breath during that incredible save when Josh Cheney slid up into his left rear quarter panel. A big slide in 3 and 4. That was a scary moment.
Yeah, all I need to say is Dave Lanza is a wheelman, because that could have been pretty ugly real quick, and he made a great save right there, and we're able to get strapping on some new tires and make another run at Bobby there and make it interesting at the end.
Yeah, and Dave Lanza, it was an incredible save, and he seemed to be truly one of the fastest on the long runs. I would say him and Marinak were sort of in a league of their own, so it's at the beginning portion of the race until things changed, and but Marinak and Lanza both running really fast times at the beginning portions of the race. Lanza gets stuck in traffic a little bit. But did you think to try anything weird or to get any kind of track position, or basically Lanza knows what he's been doing? He's been doing it a long time, and give him 4 tires and let him have at it?
Well, we're battling loose all night, so we're trying to keep it a little bit lighter on fuel to help the balance of the car. And that was pretty much Dave's main complaint throughout the night, was just how loose it was on the get-go, and that I think is the second to last restart. We kind of lost touch with the leaders, and then we got turned there. But so we really wanted a nice long green stretch where he could settle in and just find a rhythm, and it wouldn't be so terribly loose for him.
Yeah, and I believe Lanza will be 12th in points exiting this race, if my math is correct. Certainly missed a few races this year. So would the goal for the rest of the season just to be to rack up top 5 and get as many wins as he can? I see that he's already got 2 on the season.
Yeah, Dave wants to go for wins, nothing but he's not. Yeah, like you mentioned, he's kind of out of it for the points championship. Every week he shows up, he's going for the W.
Yeah, so a second place finish, a nice solid effort, and certainly maybe one of the biggest highlights with that big save in 3 and 4. And who would you like to thank?
Yeah, we need to thank hippiespaintshop.com for being a sponsor of Team Man-Child Racing Motorsports, and Inside Sim Racing TV for being part of the Asphalt Assault here Thursday night series. It's a lot of fun to come watch these guys race, and they really put on a great show.
And that's crew chief for David Lanza. That's Chad Cole, crew chief of the second place finisher. And I believe JD has caught up with the third place finisher of Stefan Marinac.
Yeah, let me tell you something, Cowboy. When if you're lucky enough to go along for a ride in the passenger seat of the number 24 machine, you better be buckled in tight, and you better be hanging on with both hands, because you're going to get an e-ticket ride no matter what. Stefan Marinac, what an incredible run for you tonight. Of course, started out on the pole here at Atlanta. Was it the wall strike late in the race that set you back?
Yeah, that kind of killed us right there. When Bobby passed us, I nailed the wall. I misjudged the exit of the corner. And I mean, I just don't understand. They came out of nowhere at the end. I mean, we were faster on old tires than they were on new tires at the beginning of the race. And on that restart, I mean, I ran my fastest lap of the race, and they were still catching me. So I don't really know what happened there at the end.
Let's take you back about 15, 20 laps ago or more, probably. I don't have it pulled up on my machine, but there was a point in the race, about maybe 3/4 of the race through, you and the 7 car side by side for about 5 or 6 laps. You were on the outside. Was it, and the inside is typically the preferred line. The outside looked like it was incredibly easy for you to manage out there. Was it as easy as it looked?
Yeah, unfortunately for us, he learned that late in the race and passed us up there. To be honest, I mean, when I was passing lap cars, it was easier on the bottom than it was on the outside. But I mean, I was able to hold my own up there when he got beside us. And yeah,
that was going to be that was going to be my next question. Was once he got to the outside, did you feel threatened when you saw the 7 suddenly take a position on the outside there late in the race and think, oh my God, the same thing I did to him, now he's doing it to me?
Yeah, I thought I was going to get a lot better run through the center, and then I didn't, and he got that good run off, and I knew it was over.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys certainly put on a hell of a race here at Atlanta. Of course, I mean, like I said at the top of the show here, if you want to see some good racing, you got to show up here on Thursday nights and watch these Cowboys. Incredible racing. Who makes it happen for you, Stefan?
Yeah, huge thanks to Axo Sanitary for being on the car. They went from my full throttle ride to over here. Hippies Paint Shop, check us out on Facebook. Inside Sim Racing for sponsoring the series, Derek Spear Designs, and you guys.
Appreciate that very much. And before we get out of here, Harrison, I had to drag I actually had to drag CJ LeVere in the house here. I just had to talk to this guy. CJ, are you there? Are you with us? Hello, CJ, are you with us? Well, maybe not, but I was hoping that CJ would have been with us here. This Cowboy goes down 2 laps, and you know, it looked like it was going to be an incredible struggle for the number 4 to get back on the lead lap. I mean, there was just going to have to be a miracle come falling out of the sky, and I'll be lo and behold if it didn't happen. And of course, CJ finishes on the lead lap with a 5th place finish. What an incredible night for that number 4 machine, Harrison.
Yeah, CJ, that could have been a really bad result following a little mishap with the green flag pit stop, but CJ, Matt Lacrosse actually wasn't able to make the race, so he loses ground on these guys. CJ is the sole captain of 3rd position right now, no pressure from him, and now he can just try to work his way forward, and that is a big comeback to get 5th place out of that, when he easily could have ended up somewhere around 15th.
You bet. And I'll tell you what, you know, like I said, these guys, they put on an incredible race every Thursday night here on ETV Live at 9:30. And I think we've got about 12 or 13 or so races to go. But there's not a race that doesn't go by that is just a blast to watch. And, of course, the same thing on the Monday night series, the Full Throttle Cup series, here with the Real Sim Racing League. Just probably the most incredible simulation racing you'd ever want to witness. But I'll tell you what, we're going to go ahead and close the night out here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Harrison, I'm not even going to attempt the last name again, but Harrison, a newcomer at ETV Live, joining us up here, does an outstanding job. Incredible commentator along for the ride. Of course, Laura Lawson down there in the trailer working the cameras. The cowboy up here, they call me JD Webb, working the booth here tonight. So that's going to do it from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Big thanks to Inside Sim Racing for sponsoring this series, and of course to all the boys here at Real Sim Racing League. So with that, we'll see you again on ETV Live.